Welcome, welcome. So, I've just gone platinum in Elden Ring, and I think it's time to start sharing some knowledge, especially with the beginners. This game has been out for about a month now, and it feels like, from my experience, that people are still having some trouble playing Elden Ring. So, I haven't done anything spectacular. I've gone through the tutorial, and I've exhausted the dialogue of every NPC that I've come across. I've come across White Mask Var, Rena at the Church of Eli at nighttime, Rodrika at the Stormhill Shack for the Spirit Ash upgrades. I have found Bach the Seamster east of the Aghiel Lake North side of Grace, and right now I'm currently at D Hunter of the Dead. I've also encountered Alex along the way. He moved, but he is on the hill somewhere in here. On the way to Saint's Bridge, you can hear him shouting for you, and here's D Hunter of the Dead. So I've just spoken to these guys to get their quest started, because NPCs will move when you defeat major bosses. In order to advance D's quest line, there's the to be a mariner right here in Summonwater Village. The other NPCs include Bloodyfinger Hunter Yura, Sorceress Selen, Patches, Blod, and Knight Bernal, who can be found at the War Master Shack, basically east of Rodrika's shack. D and Var are very important NPCs because they can transport you to other sections of the game earlier on, and I'll get into that in a minute. But for right now, what I will do for this video introduction is cover all of Limgrave and the Weeping Peninsula. So I want to help the beginner players as much as I possibly can so that they don't miss anything. You can't get everything in the first playthrough, but you want to get as much as you possibly can. So that's what these videos are going to be for, providing information, because in these cryptic Souls-like games, there's a lot you can miss, and the best thing to do is to form a community and share knowledge with other players. So another beginner tip that people know about is the fact that you can go to the Dragonburnt Ruins, and there is a chest in the cellar area of the Dragonburnt Ruins that will lead you to a chest. And the chest will basically be a trap that transports you to this area in Caelid. A lot of majors come here to grab the meteorite staff and sword. Getting out of here is kind of a pain, but it's fine. You can get a lot of higher level upgrade material out of here. Dying is kind of part of the game. Getting out of this area isn't that bad. But the stuff can basically one-shot you like that. So if you're going to get out of here, just do your best. There's a side of Grace right down from here, and from there you can transport out of this area completely or continue to explore. I like to explore without fighting enemies because you can just pick up a lot of items that will be useful to you if you simply get the level to do so. Right now I'm still level 1, just running around. Runes can also be picked up off the ground throughout Elden Ring. So get your roll on if you feel like they're gonna hit you. And there you go. So a lot of low level players just come straight to Caelid and get their items. Me, I like to get the map covered, and once you get a map piece, it's permanent. So if you new game, it's good to go. I don't recommend fighting the enemies in Caelid, but running through and grabbing items is definitely a good idea. The invisible scarabs, if you can see this trail over here, these guys give pretty useful items if you can manage to catch them. And that's how it's done. You gotta be a little lucky with it, I guess, but people leave messages right here, and if you pretty much know when your weapon's gonna hit, you gotta just time it right. But that right there gives me the poison armament, and this is nothing you have to do. This is kind of just me running through and picking up stuff as I go. I didn't even really want to take the chest to come here, but it kind of just happened. And in the Street of Sage's Ruins, it's where a lot of mages come and get their stuff. Right here is the Rock Sling spell. A lot of people know about that, and it carries a lot of people through the mid-game pretty decently. And right there I've got some armor that I can go ahead and put on. I wouldn't worry about dying, it's cool. And apologies, the meteoric blade is actually in the Caelid Waypoint Ruins, which is somewhere down here in the area I haven't been to yet. It's all fogged out. But basically running from here along the swamp, like I just showed you, and getting the scarab and killing the scarab for the poison mist ash of war is pretty useful early on. Don't have to, but all of this kind of just rolled out while I was creating the video. So from the Street of Sage's Ruins, I just got what you saw me do with the meteoric staff, a set of armor, and a spell. You would need 18 intelligence to use all that stuff though, so just keep that in mind. But if you're a caster, which is how a lot of people start off this game, that's very useful for you. So there is a map piece. There are a few map pieces I could get, and while I'm in this area I figured I may as well go ahead and do that. Basically running around and avoiding enemies, picking up stuff is a good way to start the game. In earlier Souls games that was so difficult because you couldn't even get past certain enemies early on or whatever. But in this game, exploration is very important. So I came here to get the map, and I think the Caelid Waypoint Ruins will probably be somewhere over here. But that's my other map piece up here to uncover the rest of Caelid. Along my journey, basically following the main road of Caelid that you basically saw on the map here. Well, I got enemies after me, so I can't really. But there's a main road that you would follow. This strip of land, and I'm just following that to my next map piece. It literally goes, wraps around a lot of the swamp. A few people take D to get to this area, because he will show you a transport area to Garang the Beast Clergyman, but you don't have to do that through D. The benefit of doing it through D is the fact that if you take down the boss in Summonwater Village, the Tibia Mariner, you would get a death root, and with that death root you would take it to the Beast Clergyman and you would get your first unlocks from him. But it's not necessary. The beast incantations, I would say, are a bit underrated, and they do scale with strength and faith. A lot of people that are strength faith builds may or may not use them, but I think they're personally underrated. They have a lot of damage and stagger potential. While I'm heading for these items, I'm just unlocking sites of grace, because these are areas that I'll just come back to later. It's just pointless to try and fight through these areas at level 1 right now. Exploration is number 1. So over here you got another map piece, and up ahead is another very important area. Be careful, avoid the dragons. I don't think they breathe fire. I don't want to find out. I've never really seen them do it in my previous playthroughs. Not gonna worry about it. We're just gonna get up this hill into the next side of grace. Now this area is important because this is where you can get your first lot of runes. I would suggest coming back here when you have a bleed weapon, because this is Grey Roll, this dragon here. She's the mother of these dragons. She is basically harmless. She's huge, and if you have a bleed weapon, you can come here early and you can be a monster and slash this defenseless mother dragon to death for about 75k runes. But like I said, I would come back with like a bleed weapon. It would take a while to actually kill her. The importance of this area, not only that, is if you can make it through here, through this area, you don't have to fight through it, you just have to survive. So a nice distraction is these wolves, because you'll probably get one shot by these bats. And then I just run straight up. Might get killed, might not. But I leave the spirit wolves down there to deal with those guys. This area is going to give you a key item early in the game. The right of the Dectus Medallion. Up here, there are spirits that are going to spawn, but the wolves are going to deal with them. Or not. But you also get very good items if you can manage to the major part about this is the fact that there's a huge rat, like the big rats, the ones that can just, and then from here is the Radagon Sword Seal. From here it doesn't matter, you can kind of just die. It's an excellent talisman to have early on. And that's pretty much it for this area. I'm just doing it with the wretch, naked with just a club in my fist, just to show you that it's possible. So we're gonna get back on the main gig. That's basically what I would call it right now. Which was basically going back and getting all the NPCs in Limgrave. So right now we kind of got sidetracked and went off on our own little side quest of our own, if you will. But we did get a good portion of this uncovered. So right now I'm going to go back to looking for Yura, the talisman that you just picked up. Seeing as you only have one slot, this is Radagon Sword Seal, and this will raise all of the stats that you see right here by 5. Your vigor, endurance, strength, dexterity, all of that will get raised by 5, and it makes it so that you can, you know, wield stuff that you may have picked up or whatever, you know, without having to level up. It says here that you take more damage, but I think that's kind of offset by the bonuses that it gives to you, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. So we'll just leave this area here for now, and then we'll come back later. I'm going to go ahead and continue finding the rest of the NPCs and getting more unlocks. This is just to show you that you don't have to rush into combat, you don't have to rush into boss fights or anything like that. There's plenty of this game to explore. You don't have to feel like you're going to get stuck on a boss. A lot of people get stuck on the boss because they haven't bothered to do any research or explore the rest of the area, and they feel like that's their only option as far as progress, but that is not the truth. So I have located Yura, and he is right here on the map, directly where I am. Just like when we got stuck, or not stuck, we got sucked into that transport trap and ended up in Caelid. If you don't want to do that, Yura is right here, and just starting his quest line, and he's going to be important later. I'm going to see if I can trigger the next event in his quest line. Alright, so for the next part of Yura's quest line, it involves an invasion that will happen on your way to Murkwater Cave, which is directly north of where you met him. The invasion will trigger as you come up here. I was trying to get Yura to help me, but he didn't appear yet. I think I have to actually engage in the fight with the invader for that to happen. Yep. So after you see that Yura is coming, I kind of just run towards Yura, because there's just no sense. If he can kill him for me, then there's really no sense in me trying to. He can still kill you though, so from here you just want to kind of help and keep your health up. Yura will do most of the hard work for you. And there you go. So I should have done this earlier, but a little bit of coverage doesn't hurt for this area if you want to clear it, because you can gather some items from here. There are 2 weapons in the carriages. One is the flail, the other is a great sword. But more importantly, you get the whetstone knife from this area, which is going to allow you to add modifications to your weapons, like the Ashes of War. I always say to clear every camp or whatever that you come across, because it just has it has something you don't have. So the ashes always work as a good distraction anytime, really. So I kind of let them do their thing and I'll loot. So far we can both we can do bleed and poison to basically make our lives easier if you come across something that you're having difficulty with. The poison armament incantation that I picked up earlier from the Scarab and Kaled will definitely come in useful. Okay, so this is just a few minutes playing into the game, but we're already doing pretty good for ourselves. I started off as a naked build like this to help you find out where everything is, because people definitely prefer to start with a different class, so they have something to work with, you know, some spells or some heals or something like that. Starting off as a wretch, so we have to find everything. So we don't have a staff, we don't have a seal, we don't have things like that. So where I get those things is from the Twin Maiden Husk. I did not, you know, kill much for runes or anything. So these are just runes that I picked up. You just kind of come here and spend. I picked that rune up. I didn't even know it was worth that much. If you want some armor, you can buy it. If you want a different weapon, like a battle axe, which is something I'm not against, go for it. But the more important items here are the stone sword key. If you want a shield, you can get one. I'm here for a seal, and seeing as my build is arcane, I'm going to level that up. And here you will see D again after meeting him in our first location. He's basically going, the next step in his quest would be for us to defeat a boss in the Summon Water Village. A cool thing about this game, that they basically brought back from previous games, is the fact that you can dual wield weapons. So if you get 2 battle axes or 2 maces or 2 daggers, you get a unique moveset. But for now, I'd rather use this battle axe over that club, and I'm pretty confident that we can take out the boss in Summon Water Village to continue D's quest line. And I think I'll grab that map piece right over here. Also, for backup, it's not a bad idea to get a few incantations from this guy. These simple ones like Catch Flame or Flame Sling, if you want a bit of distance and you don't want to get close. These are pretty nice, and a few of these can raise your resistances. Being able to cure poison is definitely handy, and being able to heal yourself is also handy. I'm just gonna go with the regular heal for now though, and come back when. So for our upcoming fight, things will definitely be easier, and seeing as I started as a wretch build, all my levels are balanced out. So if I need a bit of distance between me and the enemy, I've got Flame Sling, and Catch Flame works good up close, but for now I can just use Poison. I've got Fire, and I've got Bleed. So I'm gonna go ahead and attempt. I'm doing this at a fairly low level up. I gave my Vigor a little bit of a boost here, but nothing major. Just because I had the runes on me. And there you have it. Definitely not too bad. It's definitely manageable. Yeah. And then with that continues Dee's quest line. And that will cause him to pinpoint on the map the location of the beast clergyman.
Those who live in Baltimore. Well, another fool with a prowess. How would you, if you're inclined? Then I'll introduce. I have a map on the beast. What say? Very well. I've marked the. It will lead you. What is it? The map indicate will lead you to.
So basically from the Murkwater Cave, where I just was, back onto this road. Watch out for the Knight's Cavalry at nighttime, if you're not prepared to take him on. He can beat you up pretty good. And he will chase you. Now, if you took note of what I said earlier about that dragon back in Caelid, what did we get earlier? A bleed weapon. You can go and get your 75k if you want. Just be aware that you will be slashing for a minute. You will be slashing longer than a minute, but you will be slashing for a while. But it's totally worth it because it doesn't fight back. At all. And the dragons that surround her cannot reach you. And I believe this is going to be the Mistwood map. Be careful in these areas because there are gigantic bears and they do not fight fair. And there's just stuff that I'm grabbing as I'm running through the area. This is kind of just all coming with it, you know. I'm not doing anything in any specific order. There's no right or wrong way, especially when you're starting a new character. Your initial build is, however, important because you won't be able to respec your stats until you reach a certain point in the game, which isn't too far from here, but you want to have some kind of knowledge or a little bit of know-how about where you're placing your stats. So for me, I'm the type of guy that wants to cause damage. In any Souls game expert or player really would know that the longer you spend in a boss fight or any encounter, the more likely you are to die. So you want to shorten the length of these battles if you can. Merchants are marked on the map now, so you can come back for these cookbooks and whatnot, and these upgrade materials and different items that the merchants may hold. While I'm down here, I'm just going to Fort Height because of a quest, a side quest later. I forget where the Mark of Grace is down here. There it is. And we're just kind of roaming around, and we're uncovering all of this by just uncovering the NPC quests and getting them started before doing any major progression. So everything kind of comes back around full circle when you do that. So just like with this transport that that D has shown us. By going up here, we'll reach the Fourth Church of America, I think it is. And every church that you come to will have a sacred tier. I think the max is 14 that you can raise your... I think the max is plus 12 that you can raise your amount of restoration. This will come in handy later. If you want to get the grace down here, you can. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of cut this part out because it's a lengthy drop down and you got to come back up. So after you reach this area in here, you can ride on torrent down here, and that's the cool thing. If you want to run around and grab items, you can. That's the cool part about Elden Ring, is the fact that you have a ride and you can run around and pick up things while avoiding enemies. If you don't want to watch this, basically a run through an item pickup of the Sulphur River, you can go ahead and skip ahead because I'm going to continue moving towards the mark on the mini-map. You want to not get hit by these guys, they're mean. And this is an important area for later anyway. So if you have a few grace marks down here, or sites of grace down here, there's nothing wrong with that. And these upgrade items like the glove warts are definitely worth grabbing because those are going to help you upgrade the spirit ashes that you currently have. These messages, man. That's another thing. I try to leave good messages. You get healed when people appraise your messages, so the more messages you leave here and there, the better. It doesn't matter if they're troll messages either, because some people will say jumping ahead and you'll see a bunch of blood stains and people will think that you actually have to jump there, but the message has like 1,000 appraisals on it, so it's like, you know. Mushrooms and all that goodness. Ouch. So you'll mainly be in the underground for you would come here basically for Ranni's quest line, which does trigger a hidden ending. I'm kind of interested in seeing what we find down here. I mean, I know what we'll find, but picking up things down here doesn't hurt as far as crafting materials and stuff. But the best part about coming down here early is just the sites of grace. Whoa. smithing stones, you know, stuff like that. Because you won't get the item that allows you to buy infinite amounts of this stuff for a while. Well, not a while, but you won't have access to just buying infinite amounts right off the gate. So gathering a few upgrade materials to begin with, and then deciding what weapon you want to actually use as your primary weapon, and then upgrade it. That's a good idea. So again, I'm kind of just like, oh, gotta be careful up here. Kind of just, you know, doing whatever. There is a spot up there that would use a stone sword key, which would lead you to another area in Caleb. These gates, I'm not sure where they take you. Some of them take you in other places in this area that you otherwise wouldn't be able to reach, and I think some of them take you to other places. I'm not gonna light these braziers because I'm nowhere near ready to fight the boss of this area, and that's the main reason you would light those braziers. We didn't quite make it up here because these guys just hit so hard, and it's so hard to avoid those attacks, so we can just come back here when we're stronger. Or I don't know, if you're some type of expert, you can traverse this. Like so. Takes a bit of determination to be able to do these type of things at a low level with no HP, because Elden Ring, I want to say, is more harsh than any Souls game I've ever played. I mean, these monsters, they just don't care. But by coming down here and just skimming through this area, not anything serious, you've gotten a lot of crafting items and upgrade items, primarily for your spirit ashes. See there, we got a charm, and here, well, I thought I got a stone sword key, but you can buy stone sword keys from the round table hold, and you can come back here, and this will take you to another spot in Caleb that would be otherwise unreachable. So we're gonna go back up on the surface and head back towards Dee's quest line. Another interesting thing about this area that we're about to go to is, if you are in fact a mage, this is very, very easy Souls early on. I don't recommend melee for this, but if you want early rune farming, these guys are basically worth 1,000 a pop if you can manage to kill them, and they're just significantly easier when you're using magic or incantations. We'll see when I get there, if see how good fireball works when I get there. I really didn't have to like level up at all, honestly. I kind of like playing as SL1, and I might do that in the future. But like I said, this is the beginner guide, so I don't recommend SL1 to beginners. Here I think you get the Yep, you get the Flask of Wondrous Physic, and that's really nice to have early on as well. So, I mean, everything in Limgrave, you just want to explore everything you can, and we're going to be going down the checklist, so be prepared for long, extensive videos, because Elden Ring is a long, extensive game. So right through here, we've got this transport. This is stuff that most people know, and most people already have in their content. But I think that still a lot of people have missed the details in the NPC quest lines, and that's what how we're missing stuff and not getting stuff that we could have gotten. We are back in Caelid once again. North, the most north you can go.
A smell feeded me, tarnished. I should grant feed me.
So anytime we're near some living dead, the beast eye will quiver, and he gave us the claw mark seal. But in order to get like a beast incantation, we're gonna have to get more death roots. This area is good for rune farming, because these soldier enemies here are worth about 1,000 apiece. Fair warning, they can hit very hard, and they do use beast incantations, and they hit very hard. They can one-shot you depending on how early you come here. Straight down the hill, you saw me take that detour around that gargoyle enemy up there. He won't bother you as long as you stand clear of him. But straight down the hill, you've got a golden seed, and then you've got grace right before you hit the bridge. Another interesting thing about this area is if you come here during the night, there's a Knights Cavalry, another Knights Cavalry. It's a reoccurring field boss, but each one has a different reward. So it's, like getting the set or the items that all of them have, but they're all from separate bosses that are the same boss, if that makes sense. So down here would be the Knights Cavalry, and in the middle of this pathway, these enemies, I guess, have set these poisonous traps, and if you go over them, you will begin to build up poison. So if you can run the Knights Cavalry through those, or even off the cliff, because he does a charge type attack when he chases after you. In some cases he'll go right off the cliff. I actually have some footage uploaded in one of my earlier videos before I really knew how to mess around with it. I don't have footage of him going off the hill, but I definitely have footage of him enemy defeated, or whatever it would say. I'm not feeling particularly lucky, but I will see if I can pull it off. If not, I'm not going to worry about it, because it's not really what I'm here to do. Maybe he gave up the chase. I'm not sure where he went. But yeah, if you're lucky, you can... Yeah, he gave up the chase. But yeah, in some events that you're lucky, you can run him right off the cliff. In some patches, though, maybe they made it so that he won't pursue you for too long. On the bridge here, you've got a dragon. It's not nothing special. When you first come across these dragons, they may seem like, they may give you a special item or whatever, but most standard dragons like that one, they're like field bosses, but nothing special but a dragon heart. So, speaking of dragon hearts, we are going back to Fort Farith. Before we kill the dragon, we want to discover the Cathedral of Dragon Communion, because she's going to give us 5 dragon hearts. And dragon hearts are currency for the dragon incantations. And again, every church that you come through, you've got the sacred tier. That's just going to increase the effectiveness of your flask. Millicent's questline, we can do that later. I'm going to save that for a different section because this is mostly focused on Limgrave. I know I've gotten outside of that by coming here. But it's beneficial. So one of the earlier grace sites that I gathered was Kayla Highway South. The church is somewhere down here. I'm going to assume that this formation right here is it. Obviously on another playthrough it would already be marked on my map, but you can kind of see it from where you're standing. The beautiful thing about Elden Ring is you can just go to the peak of something, or stand somewhere on a certain spot and see where something is from where you're standing. Avoid that dragon because he breathes rotten breath, and scarlet rot is no fun. So this is where you'll come to get your dragon power, if you will. So this is the bigger one. This is the Cathedral of Dragon Communion, and this is where you can get these. So I just told you you can get 5 of those dragon hearts from that one boss. I want to say that the most useful ones are Rotten Breath and Dragon Ice. So just simply raising your faith to 15, which is not hard, you get access to both Frost and Rot. These other ones are cool. They're fire and magic. And Dragon Claw is physical damage. They're all useful in their own ways, but Dragon Ice and Rotten Breath are very useful. So from here we can go and slay that dragon and get runes if you so choose, and you can raise your stats. I would raise vigor. But not only by raising your vigor do you raise your hit points, but you also raise your resistances to other things, and you just don't get hit as hard as you normally would. So this is very time consuming, I guess, but it's totally worth it for this level. You will be sitting here slashing for a bit. Normally you'd be able to see your progress, but I'm playing with no HUD, so it's dead when it's dead. I decided to play with no display as a challenge to myself so that I could get better. As I said before, I recently achieved platinum, and now I just want to go to the next level. And by starting a whole new fresh game and sharing my knowledge with others, I want to get better myself. So really the only way to see my stats is this. Other than that, I have to memorize everything. And it honestly just brings out Elden Ring more. Like, it's kind of like movie style, you know? I don't have any of my stamina or FP. If I run out of FP, I don't know where that's at. So it's kind of all in my head, you know? And there you have it. It didn't take as long as I thought it would take, but it will say you get 1 dragon heart. In reality, you actually get 5. And 74,000 runes. So from here, I went back to the Cathedral of Dragon Communion, and now you're pretty much a force to be reckoned with at a low level, because you've got all this stuff at your disposal. You've got the ability to poison your weapon. You have bleed, and Greyroll's Roar is one of the legendary incantations, but it can wait. I'll save that for another video for your achievements, so that you can get platinum like me. So Dragon Ice and Rotten Breath right now are gold. And you only need 15 faith.